You want to find that drive and focus that has you locked in and on fire every single day? My book, The Mirror Motivation, will do it for you. I bought a copy for you. You take care of the shipping. The book is free. Click the link down there. I got you.
DreAllDay.com.
Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. I was at a restaurant just last night. It's like a pizza restaurant in Miami. And the waiter, because it was a pizza restaurant, so it was, some of the stuff was Italian, like cheeses. They had all these different cheeses that we didn't know were cheeses. So we're looking at it and we're looking at it like, what does that mean? What is that? What is that? So we waiting for the waiter to come over and we knew we were gonna ask him some questions, right? So the waiter comes over to the table, like, can I take your order? And we're looking at the menu and we're like, all right, well, I like on this pizza right here, what is this, this, and this? And I'm trying to pronounce the stuff and I know I wasn't pronouncing it right. And the waiter, he works there, so he probably knows the pizzas. The menu wasn't that deep. He came around, like looking over my shoulder to see what I was looking at, and then he looked at it and was like, oh, you're talking about this, and he would pronounce it the right way, then he would explain what it was. And he did this for like 3 or 4 items off the menu. And when then we placed our order, he walks away. And one of the things I was saying to my lady was like, it would be much more impressive if that waiter, when I was trying to pronounce something, I told him the name of the pizza, the item that I was talking about, and then one of the ingredients, that when I tried to pronounce it, I mean, it ain't like I completely mangled it. He knew what I was trying to say, even though I didn't say it right. It'd be really impressive if he knew what it was, and without looking at the menu, he just kept standing where he was, without coming over to me, kept standing there, pronounced it the proper way, and said, okay, that is this, and then explained it that way. And then if I asked him something else, he did the same thing. Oh, that means, here's how you say it, this is what it is, and then he explained it, and then did it again and again. I said that would have been more impressive than if he had to come, than what he did, was come look over my shoulder to see what I'm looking at, and then say, oh, that's this, and then saying it, because he had to look to understand. Now, what exactly point am I making with this, and why does it even matter? You may be wondering, or maybe you're not, because you see the title of this video. Is these little things that matter, these little things that add up, these little things that can add to or take away in a very subtle way the value of an experience or a product or a service or a thought or anything that we're doing. This little thing, like if any of you have ever been to a restaurant, maybe, I think most of you maybe have, where the waiter or the waitress doesn't even have a pen or a paper, right? You just tell them what you want, and it could be 6 people at the table. And you just each person tells the waiter or waitress what they want, and the waiter or waitress is like, okay, great. They ask you follow-up questions, and then they just walk away. They never wrote anything down the whole time. They stand there with their hands behind their back, and they just remember everything, and then they get the order perfect, and they bring it out exactly as it's supposed to be. Any of you ever been to a place where they did that? It's impressive, right? And you might not have even noticed. If you're used to going to places like that all the time, you might not have noticed, or if you were deep in conversation with whoever you were with, maybe you didn't even pay attention to that. But those little things are the kind of things that make a big difference, because over time they start to add up. Over time, unconsciously, we as the consumers, we notice these little things that are there or that are not there when we're getting a service from someone, whether that's somebody coming to your website, somebody buying a product or a service from you, you mailing something to somebody, the way that it's packaged, the packaging, the way that you mail it out. All these things start to add up. They are very, very tiny, and most of the time people won't say anything. They won't consciously notice it, but unconsciously, our unconscious minds notice everything. It may never come to your consciousness for you to think about it and talk about it, but unconsciously we notice everything. And if you ever wondered why, damn, you ever been in a situation where you felt like you did everything right, you had everything in the right place, you said all the right stuff, but the person you were dealing with or people you were dealing with still didn't choose you, they still didn't go your way, they still didn't buy your product or service, they still didn't do what you expected them to do or what you wanted them to do, even though you feel like you hit everything perfectly, it's probably because there was something unconsciously in their minds that never was right that caused them to say no. And they may not even be able to explain it to you. That's the crazy part. They may not even know why they said no to you, but something within them told them to say no. They can't explain it. You don't know what it was. It's these little tiny details, like a waiter at a fucking pizza shop where the pizza, it ain't like this was some high-end place. Pizza was $20. Not needing a pen or pad, not needing to look at the menu to understand what I'm trying to say to them, and then getting it right, or the waiter or waitress not coming to the table too many times. The same place we were at eating, they had like 3 different people kept coming to the table over and over again. We trying to have a conversation, not the waiter, but me and my lady trying to have a conversation at our table, But every like 3 minutes, somebody was coming over to the table. Everything all right? Can I get you anything? They refilling the water ain't even empty. I'm still, like the water is damn near 80% full. They keep refilling it because they gotta have something to do. Those little things add up. Those little things are the difference between somebody coming back to your business and never coming back. Those little things are the difference between somebody buying from you today and then the next time they're ready to spend money, going to somebody else instead of coming back to you, because of the little details that you might have missed, the little details that they might have missed consciously, but unconsciously they notice, and it causes them to go one direction or another. And these things are happening every single day with all of us in every interaction we're having. Right now, it's happening with you. There's some little thing, or maybe something I said, or the way that I said it, or my voice inflection, or my tone of voice, or the way that I look, that's either getting you to say, yes, I'm gonna watch more, or no, I'm not. And you might not even consciously understand whether you are or you're not. These little things, whether it's playing sports, whether it's in businesses, in relationships, in dating, and socializing, and friendships, these things happen all the time in life. So what I want you to take away from this, is a lot of it is what I'm saying is unconscious that we're not even conscious of, is for you to start making yourself more conscious of detail. Notice details in yourself. Notice details when you're dealing with other people. Pay attention to detail when you're in a position of, in any position. When you're in a position of power, you better pay attention to detail, because if you allow those little details to get sloppy, the big things are going to start to get sloppy, and by the time you notice them, it's going to be too late to turn everything around, at least quickly. If you're in a position where you're a subordinate to someone, you should pay attention, really close attention to all the details, because if you're the one who is, because most people don't pay attention to detail, they never become conscious of what we're talking about here. If you're the one who is paying attention, you're going to stand out just off of that alone, and that will cause you to slowly rise in the ranks in ways that other people won't even notice why you're rising. It's like, what's so great about this person? You ever heard somebody say, what's so great about them that they're getting this instead of this person over here? Is the details that most people don't notice. That's what's so great about them. These little tiny things are what make the big thing. But most people, again, they're so low on their consciousness that they never even think about what we're talking about, let alone do they do anything about what we're talking about, and let alone are they doing anything positive that helps them in what we're talking about here. So what I'm giving you right here is some really deep inside game that if you start paying close attention to detail and utilizing this attention the right way, you're going to start making advantages for yourself that other people have no idea how or why or what the hell is going on. Work on your game. DreAllDay.com.